Good morning. I was having all kinds of technical difficulties this morning. OBS crashed on me, my computer was acting all funny, but I'm here. I made it. Good morning, Wilo Gamer Pro. Good morning, Artwork Studios. Good morning, Veds Improvin. Lots of folks here, huh? I like it. Man, some people have been here since 3:45. Wow. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Hey, good morning, Arvin. Good to see you, man. All right. Another fine day ahead of us. Where were we? Learn to go with tests. Hey, what's up, Gun? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being a member. Appreciate you. Hope boys, but yeah, he's doing fine. He's hanging in there. I mean, I think he just has the flu or something. We ended up not taking him to the doctor because his symptoms seem to be like well managed with just your basic ibuprofen, Tylenol, food, water. Just supportive therapy. So he seems to be doing okay. My wife ended up uh, when she got home, she said she was feeling pretty crummy and had a fever at school. So she's home today too. So I think my days might be numbered, but I'm doing my best to fight it off. Yeah, some sort of flu. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, he seemed better at the end of the day yesterday, but it took my youngest son 3 days, I think, to get over it. Roundabouts there. I think he missed 3 days of school. So we'll see. If I can keep it away from myself, I'll be happy. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get through it. This is how every year goes for us at this time of year. It's just this like revolving door of like one person's sick and the other person's healthy. It's all those school age kids, they don't have any sense of just really no sense of personal space. Which it's not necessarily their fault. They're little kids. What are you gonna do, right? What you're gonna do is just sit down and learn some Go and drink some coffee and yeah, man. All right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've been there. Yeah, if you've got a kiddo, then you know. All parents know. This is a part of the journey. The first year we had our oldest in school, we were kind of like put on our butt. We couldn't believe it. We were like, "What the hell is happening?" But now it's just kind of normal. Yeah, stomach flu is horrible. We actually were talking. That's funny you say that because that was actually the first thing we said yesterday. Was like in the morning after I got off stream, went upstairs and I was talking to my wife and son. We were like, the flu sucks, but at least it's not the stomach flu because that's just, I mean, that's just awful. That's an awful experience. There's no way to get comfortable. You have to get up all the time. Yeah, terrible experience. It can always be worse, right? It can always be worse. Yeah, it's a good thing to remember. Yeah, 100%. All right, we're working on doing something with blog posts. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even open go with test. Whoops. I'm ruining my friend's masterpieces in this game with my art skills. What do you mean? So your friend built a game and you're doing the artwork for it? That's pretty cool. I'm sure you're not ruining it. Unless you're doing it on purpose as like a troll. But if you're actually applying your art skills, I'm sure you're doing a perfectly fine job. Definitely better than what I would do. Oh, that's fun. It's almost like telephone. You could sit in a circle and like hand each other the painting. You know, each person gets like 30 seconds. Yeah, that's fun. I think this is where we finished yesterday. Yeah, so even though our tests are passing, we can't use our new package outside of this context because it is coupled to a concrete implementation. This is what I said yesterday. But it doesn't have to be. Change the argument to our new post from fs function to accept the interface from the standard library. Rerun the test, everything should be working. So we just want to accept the abstraction, I guess, fs.fs. And it is an interface. Oops, didn't mean to do that. It is an interface, see? So that's good. And if we rerun our tests, they should all pass. So you're just playing drawing puns then? Yeah, basically what's the actual game called? You know, where you like act out things and people have to guess what it is. What is that game? It's like charades. Charades, yeah, it's like charades almost. Someone drew an amazing head, but I drew the torso as 84 pack. I think that could actually lead to some really interesting art. You know? Even imagine taking it one step further. Like, what if you had people all over the world who all drew something or painted something together? Drawing puns, yeah, charades. But like, what if you had somebody? What if you had like, you know, you took the first, you took the first quarter of the canvas or paper or whatever, and then you ship it off to somebody else. That could be a fun idea for a. I don't know how I would implement it, but that would be a kind of a fun idea for like a app for online, you know. It's not my game though, but it's fun. Well, that's cool. Also, was I here before or after MCP server? Man, I forgot that we built an MCP server on stream. I think you were here then. Yeah, I think you were here doing that. Veg, you're not late at all, man. We're just getting started. We're just getting ramped up. You know, the coffee cup is still like relatively full, so you're good. Good to see you this morning, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Like I actually want to make a video before the end of 2025 that kind of recaps all the projects that I built this year, maybe like the top 3 projects that I built this year, because like I completely forgot about the MCP server till you brought that up. Oh, nice. Chess? I don't play much chess. Do you play a lot of chess? Do you have like an official chess score? I don't know what you call that, but the thing where they like rank you. How many projects have I made? Uh, at least 3. At least 3. Because I made the background removal tool. I made the MCP server, the stream shorts editor, Casper. And I think there was some other stuff earlier in the year. I need to go back and look. But at least 3 that I can say I'm like are like proper usable pieces of software, that I use. I only know in Queen's problem. Yeah, I've not gone very deep into chess. I have our engineering manager at work is super into chess, and he like tracks his score and all that, which is cool. It's good for everybody to have their thing. All right, we parked air handling earlier when we focused on making the happy path work. But continuing to iterate on the functionality, we should acknowledge that errors can happen when working with files. Beyond reading the directory, we can run into problems when we open individual files. Let's change our API via our tests first naturally, so that it can return an error. Okay. It should complain that the wrong number of return values. Yep. I've seen that error before. Yeah, 26 days of consistent matches. 3 matches a day. That's pretty intense. What turns you on to doing chess that consistently and that intensely? That's a lot of chess in a short amount of time. That's pretty crazy. I may not have played. What is that? That's almost 150 games of chess. I don't think I've played 150 games of chess in my life. Alright, so we're going to try to read from the dir. If we get an error, we're going to just propagate that error up. Otherwise, we'll do what we were doing before. You gotta admire the amount of tests Steven puts out on YouTube. Tests? Yeah, you mean like, the amount of like tests that I've written in my code, or what? This will make the test pass. The TDD practitioner and you might be annoyed we didn't see a failing test before. Writing the code to propagate the error from fs.readdir. To do this properly, we need a new test where we inject a failing fs.fs test double to make fs.readdir return an error. This should give you confidence in our approach. The interface we're using has one method, which makes creating test doubles to test different scenarios trivially. Fernando, thanks for subbing, man. Appreciate you. One sec. Excuse me. There's no one else on YouTube who has performed more Go tests on YouTube Live? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not. I've tried to be disciplined about sticking with this book and not just skipping over parts of it that I have definitely wanted to skip over, but that kind of feels like I'm cheating. So I'm trying. I'm trying, man. I'm doing my best. It's almost like you learning to code, then spending 5 hours maybe or 4, and then cutting it back to 2 hours after 2 weeks to a month since you got the basics down and are ready to actually make. Yeah, that makes sense. Make things. Yeah, that of course that makes 100% sense. But yeah, you're grinding. You're on that chess grind. That's awesome. We'll start with the first line in the proposed blog post schema, the title field. We need to change the contents of the test files so they match what was specified. Then we can make an assertion that it is parsed correctly. Rest of test code cut for brevity. Okay. Renee, what's up? Oh, nothing much, Renee. Just do and go, learn and go. Okay, I'm just gonna do this. And instead of reflect, I'm actually going to use the slices package and do equals. Oh, this is not a slice, so I do need to use reflect. Whoops. My bad. Okay, this is complaining because there's no title field on the post. Yeah, there's no title field on the post. That's fine. We can fix that. We know how to fix that. Now we have to figure out how to parse it. Excuse me. So we need to declare a title field. It's going to be publicly accessible, so it needs to be capitalized. It's going to be a string. And then we aren't just going to do this anymore, right? We're going to do something smarter. Yeah, so we're going to do underscore expected one expression. Well, why does he have two? Oh. That. And we'll say post equals to get post. We'll pass in the file system. We'll pass in F. And then post is going to return an error if error does not equal if error does not equal nil, or if error equals nil. If it does not equal nil, that means we have an error. Then we want to return, yeah. Also, I didn't realize I had Copilot on. What's up, Suhas? Good morning, man. Steven, do you think I should start streaming? Go for it, man. Why not? I mean, you should start streaming if you want to stream. Don't do it because you think you should, you know? And also, I wouldn't do it because you think, like, I wouldn't do it because you immediately think you're gonna, like, blow up, you know? Good morning, Mason. Good to see you. I think you should stream if that's something you find interesting or a passion you feel called to, or you just want to figure out how it works, or you just want to have that experience. You know what I mean? And we don't have a get post function, so we're going to define one. This is going to be a private method. It's going to take a file system, which is of type fs.fs. It's also going to take a f. What is f? F is a dir entry. I'm going to call mine entry. And it's going to return a post. No, it's going to return a post or an error. Either one. And we'll just return nil, or we'll return an empty post like this, and we'll set the title field equal to hello. There you go. Oh, he actually implemented the get post function. So we have file system.open. Then if error does not equal nil, we return the post and the error. Or we return an empty post in the error. If post data, or we're going to get the post data by reading all and passing it the post file. If error does not equal nil, again, return an empty post and an error. And it looks like we're just getting the first 7 characters from the post, or the data from the post data. Okay, so this is how you read a file. So you actually do like a couple of different steps here. You do read dir, which could have one or more files in it, and then for each entry you call fr.name and you pass it to the open method. We're making progress. I'm not sure. I'm not sure though. Yeah, I don't know. Is this idiomatic to return an empty struct, or should I return nil here? You know what I mean? What's the right way to do that? Don't like this song. Well, thank you, Renee. I'm glad you enjoy the streams. I try to make them enjoyable. They're not always the most exciting things lately, just a lot of learning, but glad you enjoy them. Glad you're here. Appreciate you being a member. Damn, Steven, you seem so good compared to the beginning of this journey. I don't know, man. I'm still learning. For fun and have company while coding. I think that sounds like a great reason, so let's do it, man. Get the streams going. I hit some hard shit in my self-learning. Idled 4 days because I couldn't get myself to get back on the grind. Today I begin again, but the wasted 4 days hurt. I ejected after learning the thing. Dude, just brush it off, right? Short-term memory, just like we say in football. Short-term memory. Next play. You know what I mean? Leave it lie. Forget about it. Don't beat yourself up. Those 4 days are in the past. The only thing that matters is what's ahead of you. And good job getting back to it, man. That's all you can do. Don't beat yourself up. All right, Veds. Have a good day, man. Nice Artwork Studios. I'm glad you're having a good time with your game. Good for you. So Steven is good at coding. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. But it's I would say I'm passable, you know? I've reached a passable coding ability. Remember, our focus at this point is not to write elegant code. It's just to get to a point where we have working software. Even though this feels like a small increment toward it still required us to write a fair amount of code and make some assumptions in respect to error handling. This would be a point where you should talk to your colleagues and decide the best approach. The iterative approach has given us fast feedback that our understanding of the requirements is incomplete. fs.fs gives us a way of opening a file within it by name with its open method. From there, we read the data from the file, and for now, we do not need any sophisticated parsing, just cutting out the title text by slicing the string. Separating the opening file code from the parsing file contents code will make the code simpler to understand and work with. Oh, here we go. We're just, this is like a program is nothing but functions within functions within functions, right? So yeah, he just separated out the get post into actually like reading the post, reading the data from the file. I don't know if I would do this, but we'll see. We'll see where he's going with this. So he's just going to, let's just replace all this with no, that's fine. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay. When you refactor out new functions or methods, take care and think about the arguments. You are designing here, and you are free to think deeply about what is appropriate because you have passing tests. Think about coupling and cohesion. In this case, you should ask yourself, does new post have to be coupled to an fs.file? Do we use all the methods and data from this type? What do we really need? In our case, we only use it as an argument to io.readAll, which needs an io.reader. So we should loosen the coupling in our function and ask for an io.reader. You can make a similar argument for our getPost function, which takes an fs.dir entry, but simply calls name to get the file name. We don't need all that. Let's decouple from that type and pass the file name through as a string. Here's the fully refactored code. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think it's funny because Copilot tried to do this when it tried to autocomplete my getPost function. So it's funny. It's like Copilot's definitely seen all this code before. So here what we'll do is we'll just say f dot name. Then we'll change this to name. That's upset because that doesn't exist yet. We'll say name, and it needs to be a string. Then down here we'll say don't give me a file. Just give me a give me a reader, which is going to be of type IO reader. Yeah, it's not reader like that. And everyone's still happy. Good morning, 199. I sent a request to Discord. Oh, okay. I'll approve it. You are in, Mr. Mason. Good to have you, man. Good to have you. What's up, Tyrion? Hey, how's the coffee? The coffee is delicious, Tyrion. So good to see you. Where am I? Well, you are in Stephen Freeborn's stream right now. Hi, how's your Golang journey going so far? It's going good. Yeah, I wish I would have I don't know. I wish I would have practiced more Go earlier in the year. Like I wish it wasn't the 13th of November and I was still going through the learning kind of the learning resources that I had laid out, you know? But we're almost to the end of Learn with Go. We'll probably be done with this by the 15th at the very latest. And then the last half of this month, we can actually focus on using Go rather than so much as learning it, you know, because that's where we are right now. We're definitely still in the we're just trying to learn the basic syntax and approach to programming in Go. We haven't really gotten out of following somebody's already sorted out problem, you know? So I'm excited to get into the wild and start trying to use it to solve my own stuff. Hoping the AMD card I got next month is good enough for AI self-hosting. Nice. I think it'll probably be good. Yeah, give it a go, man. I don't have any experience though with self-hosting models with dedicated hardware. The dedicated hardware is just kind of expensive, you know? What you like and hate about it so far? There's nothing really that well, there's one thing I hate. I do not like named return parameters and naked returns. I don't like that combination of features together in a function. I think that's dumb. I don't necessarily think I hate it, but I think it's dumb. Everything else, for the most part, though, I think the concurrency model's fine. The use of channels is great. The standard library seems to be very robust. I love that there's only a single looping convention. That makes it very simple. What else? Yeah, that's the stuff that comes to mind. A noob, I will do admin of code in Java. Nice, dude. All right, well, I'll get my leaderboard up probably the day before, December 1st. And you're welcome to join my leaderboard, and we can kind of track our progress together. Have you used Go routines yet? Yes, we have used Go routines and channels, which was good. Alright, from now on, most of our efforts can be neatly contained within new posts. The concerns of opening and iterating files are done, and now we can focus on extracting the data for our post type. While it's not technically necessary, files are a nice way to logically group related things together. So I moved the post type and new post into a new post.go file. Okay, so how do I do that? This is where the whole package and file system, like in Go, I'm not comfortable with. So if I do post.go, does this, I guess I still keep this as package blog posts? Or do I, yeah? Or do I say package posts? I'm guessing it should just still be package blog posts, right? So this. Oh, he left git post in the other folder. Okay, I'm going to take a slight side quest for a moment. So what if I wanted to say, like, what if I wanted to be able to say, like, I want this to be post, and I want to be able to say, from in what? Oh, so I'd actually have to put this in like a separate directory, huh? So like if I did post, which seems silly, but what I want to do. You're cooking. And for working with posts. Okay, so then I should be able to go back here. And now everyone's happy. Here. Okay, you're not happy. Why are you not happy? Because I think I'd have to do something like posts. Huh. I've taken the side quest. I feel like maybe I shouldn't have taken. Hmm. The side, yeah, the side, yeah. Well, I was like, okay, so how can I make this code read the way I want it to read? You know? And now I've gone down a place I probably shouldn't have gone down. Yeah, leak code. I never was much of a leak code fan myself. Um, yeah, I kind of like this. I kind of like this API, like func empty, and then return post. You know, like, I kind of like it. And here, instead of this, we can say empty, like that. But I don't know, so how in my tests do I use them, right? So like here, how do I say posts dot posts? Post is not a type. I guess I have to import it, so I have to say post is github.com/Stephen Freeborn/blog post/post. Like that. It says it's imported, but it's not used, but I'm using it right here. Post dot. Oh, that's because I already have something named that. That's an interesting thing to know. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I don't know if that's actually a nice way to, I don't know if that's actually I don't know if that's an improvement, but at least I figured out how to do it. Still works and everything. We should take care of our tests too. We're going to be making assertions on posts a lot, so we should write some code to help with that. I'm actually going to put my let's see, we'll say test utils.go package blog post test, and I'm gonna put my helpers here. Found packages blog posts and blog post tests in what? Oh, do I have to prefix this maybe with utils test? I'm learning about all the things. Blog posts is going to be equal to github.com/StephenFreeborn/blog posts. You do not have a post type. This is actually posts. Okay. I still don't know if I like my naming, but it should be fine the way it is. So then how do I use that helper in my test code? We're just gonna copy that guy, write the test first. Okay. Hey Sam, what's up, man? Also, please do this neovim command to stop it jumping when you enter insert mode. Lua vim.op.sign column yes. Hold on, let me see. So when you enter insert mode, it's jumping. Well, I guess I haven't noticed that. But let me see what that does. Before I turn that on, let me see what it does. Good to see you, Sam, by the way. Sign vim.op.sign column. Side quest turning into main quest? Yeah, it felt like that for a second, didn't it? A configuration setting in neovim that controls the visibility and behavior of the sign column. I don't even know what the sign column is. Sign column is where diagnostics are shown. I'm not sure what menu or what area in NeoVim you're talking about. So I'm scared. I'm scared to change. I mean, I can always change it back. Oh, is that popping up? I don't see it popping up, but maybe I'm blind. Oops. Vim dot opt dot sign. Oh, whoops. I need to do it. It needs to be in Lua, don't it? Lua. Vim dot opt dot sign column equals yes. There we go. Although I lost a little bit of space, Sam. You took some of my real estate. My real estate is precious real estate on this stream. We need every pixel we can get. Where's... Local businesses be like, you should enter coding for its money. Sure, bro. But my guile of working is only one thing, and that's money. What's guile? G-I-A-L, what's that? I hate that he keeps saying rest of test code for brevity, but yet he's just I mean just make it all so I can copy it, man. Because now I gotta figure out what you. Let's see, FS. This is his FS. Excuse me. And then we need to also change our assertion. They don't have a description yet, so we need to add one. Description. Now everybody's happy. But our tests are gonna fail for sure. For sure. I wonder, do you think that I have to have a new line here? Maybe that's what we're gonna parse on. Yeah, I think I have to have a new line there. Where did it go? Sorry if all the scrolling and jumping around makes you guys sick to your stomach. I don't mean to jump and scroll around so much, but it is what it is, you know. Is there anyone who codes Python and uses Spider here? Because I have a green line on the editor that I don't know how to disable. Not me, not I, good sir. Local businesses have mastered mind games to price us down. That sounds horrible. The jumping is jittery for me. Surprise. Oh yeah, I haven't noticed it at all. I need to pay more attention, I guess. The standard library has a handy library for helping you scan through data line by line. buff.io.scanner. Scanner provides a convenient interface for reading data such as a file of new line delimited lines of text. So this is going to be helpful because when we're in Advent of Code, a lot of the puzzles, they are grids. So if we go back to like I don't know, let's go back to like 2024. Well, yeah, a lot of your inputs are basically, you know, things on lines, and you have to parse them out. It's like this would be a puzzle input, right? So knowing how to read something line by line and parse it out is very helpful. So scanner is going to be buffio.newScanner, scanner.scan. Title line is scanner.text. So you basically call scan, then get the text. So every time you call scan, I'm guessing you advance one line in the file, is what I'm picking up from this. Handily, it also takes an IO reader to read through. Thank you again, loose coupling. We don't need to change our function signatures. Call scan to read a line, then extract the data using text. This function could never return an error. It would be tempting at this point to remove it from the return type, but we know we'll have to handle invalid file structures later, so we may as well leave it. Okay. Well, I don't want to copy all of it. I just want to copy the implementation. Yeah, look at us. All right, I'm gonna go refill my coffee cup, and then I'll be right back. Split pane up. So you can do while end of line. Oh, very cool. Mason, thank you. That's very cool. Yeah, so you could just for loop over it. I like it. Yeah, I'm guessing I'll get very comfortable with reading files over the 25 days of Advent of Code thing. It kind of forces you to have to do that. I got to rewrite a 10 to 15-year-old net framework monolith to net 10. The code on that project gave me a glimpse into hell. Dude, net framework needs to die. I wish Windows would just take the same approach they took with Internet Explorer and just say, look, if you guys want to keep using this, that's fine, but we're done. Like, we give up. We're done supporting it. We're done patching it. Because the problem is that people are never going to migrate off framework unless there's a reason to, right? Because in most cases, net framework apps are serving the business just fine. But technically, from a developer standpoint, they're a pain in the ass to maintain. The performance isn't as good. There's a lot of functionality that you're missing out on. Yeah, I'm stuck in a net framework life. Love coffee. Me too. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Fill the mug fast. Yes, coffee real full time. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. That took longer than I was expecting. I'm back though. Miss anything? Yeah, coffee real time. I did not fill the mug fast. I filled the mug extremely slow. Let's see. Someone's having lunch. Give me that beats. All right, back to it. We have repetition around scanning a line and then reading the text. We know we're going to do this operation at least one more time. It's a simple refactor to dry up. So let's start with that. So this is what somebody was mentioning this. Who was it? Somebody mentioned this. Mason did. So this is, I think, where we're getting into the ability to loop, right? So here's a read line function. This has barely saved any lines of code, but that's really rarely the point of refactoring. What I'm trying to do here is just separating the what from the how of reading lines to make the code a little more declarative to the reader. Whilst the magic numbers of 7 and 13 get the job done, they're not awfully descriptive. Yeah, they aren't awfully descriptive. Yeah, they're not descriptive at all. So now that I'm staring at the code with my creative refactoring mind, I'd like to try making our readLine function take care of removing the tag. There's also a more readable way of trimming a prefix from a string with the function strings.trimPrefix. Oh, we learned about this earlier. We learned about this in another lesson. So you may or may not like this idea, but I do. The point is, in the refactoring state, we are free to play with the internal details, and you can keep running your tests to check things still behave correctly. We can always go back to previous state if we're not happy. The TDD approach gives us this license to frequently experiment with ideas, so we have more shots at writing great code. Okay, so first let's do the refactoring that he did. So we have a read meta line now function in this implementation. Although, to be honest, I think if it was me, I'd probably just move this function out. Yeah. I think I'm just going to move this function out to here. Whoops. And whoops. Delete that. And then I'm going to put the scanner inside here. Read meta line. And now this takes in a post. It takes in a reader, which is io.reader. Well, actually, yeah, better yet, why don't we do this? Well, I'll leave it like this for now. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to do it. Then our title separator, where does that come from again? I think he pulled those into constants, didn't he? Yeah, up to the top. I'll have that. And everyone should be happy again. Whoops. We run our tests. We should still pass. Nope, we don't still pass. So what did I do? I broke something, didn't I? What have I done wrong here? I've done something wrong. Is it the way I'm passing the reader to this function? This is always where the learning happens. So I did something because I thought it would look cleaner or thought it would be better code, and then I broke the stuff. So why did it break? Go test. Okay, so that passes. Yeah, it has something to do with the reader. Good morning, Pablo. What's up, Sam D Dev? This is Go. Yep, this is Go. What Harsh said. I don't know about the maintainability, but the Go syntax looks absolutely cursed. Mason, before you left, I was asking if Golang is easier to maintain than .NET or Next. I also don't know, honestly. I haven't worked on enough Go really probably to judge its maintainability. If I had to guess, maintainability probably has far less to do with the language and far more to do with like the person writing it, you know? If you write good code, probably maintainability is probably, you know, about the same in any language. Be hurrah. Ahmed, thanks for subbing. Be hurrah. Yo, what you doing? We're learning Go, man. We're still learning Go. Also, I forgot to check if we have any new members. Nope. Okay, that's good. Okay, so what I did with my refactor was I basically turned the read meta line into a separate function, right? So I did function read meta line like this. And then I tried to pass in a reader, which is an io.reader, and the tag name, which is a string. And this just returns the string. And so what I did was I tried to pull this into this. Oh, you know what? I bet I need to, the scanner probably can't be newed up, right? Within the function. So it probably needs to be passed in. So if I did this, and I passed in the scanner, which is, what is the scanner type? Scanner type is buff.io.scanner. And then I did scanner. Cannot use scanner as buff value in argument. Oh, because it's a point. Okay. So I need one of these. There we go. That's what I was doing wrong. I think this is good. There we go. Mason, still planning to convert one of the WinForms C# apps to an API. Currently thinking about the language to use so far. I thought about using Go, but still not sure. I would try to convert it to a minimal API, right? Like, why not? Although, a WinForms app has a UI, right? So how are you going to convert it to an API? Evade money, maybe? evade money makes more sense. Thanks for subbing. Yeah, that seems like a weird conversion going from a WinForms to an API. Doesn't seem like you'll have the same app at the end of the day. So business logic API React frontend. Yeah, you could do that for sure. Yeah. I mean that's always the thing. It's like if you plan on ever wanting to have more than one front end, right? It makes sense to have everything extracted behind an API, right? Some sort of data providing API or function providing API. Although it sure does make your development a lot slower, you know? Sometimes it's a lot easier and a lot more fun to just have like a single monolithic thing and you don't have to worry about coordinating across the wire, you know? Oh, no, I'm not ignoring you. Sorry, I missed your messages. Let's see. You want to get my reply to what? Let's see. Look above. Okay, here we go. Could I get any resources on how to make a Linux-based OS except for LFS? I have no idea how to make an OS, man. That is so far beyond. That's so far beyond my capability. You're gonna have to go down a rabbit hole unto yourself. Repeat your questions. I don't mind scrolling. I didn't mean to ignore anybody. That's my fault. I wasn't paying attention. Love the monolith until I don't. Yeah. The monolith is great, right? When it's just you and you want to move fast and like you just, it's great for one person, right? Like one man band, the monolith is wonderful. You add one more person to the party and all of a sudden it's not so much fun anymore. Did I miss anybody else's? I think I caught everybody else's stuff. Maintainability. Yeah. I think I caught everybody else's questions. Next.js is monolith 2. Yeah, exactly. And it's a really nice experience, right? I mean, it's so nice to be able to have define your API routes, define your front-end components, back-end components, right? You can just do that all right there in the same project. It's wonderful. Don't have to repeat your types, right? That's the thing that always bugs me, I think, the most between having a divided front and back. Yeah, if you want an API, something like Hano plus Next or some, yeah, exactly. But the types is what kind of bugs me, especially if you're in a polyglot situation. Like if you have .NET API and a Vue front end, you almost always have to repeat your types, right? Because you're going to have some sort of DTO or some sort of response contract on the back end or request contract on the back end, and then on the front end, you're going to have the same set of response and request types. Nathan, seeing an exodus from Next.js at the moment, really? Is there a reason for that? Just people don't like they don't like Vercel, or they don't like the technology, or what's going on over in the Next.js community? Catch me up. Give me all the tea. Give me all the tea. Sometimes a good old monolith beats the 500 microservice. Oh, for sure. A monolith, I think, for a vast majority of people, especially people like me who just do a lot of solo dev projects and stuff, monolith is just, it's really unbeatable in a lot of ways. But it doesn't have to be a monolith in the sense that like everything is tightly coupled, right? Just a monolith in terms of like it's a single deployable unit, right? It all goes together. But like that doesn't mean it can't be decoupled, right? And better to maintain. Next.js is going. Okay, so somebody fill me in. What is going on in Next.js? Hano has the Hano client to have types across your API. Yeah, see, if you're using the same language, yeah, it's not so much of an issue. But if you're in a polyglot situation, much more of an issue. I love Hano. I think Hano's, if you're going to build an API, I think in the JavaScript, TypeScript world, I think Hano is where it's at. Harsh. Vercel pushing their changes straight to the React project, also dropping breaking changes every 6 months. That's a pain. Breaking changes are always a pain. Any opinion on Nest? I've never used Nest. I've seen Free Code Camp has done some courses on Nest, but I haven't used it. Made too much Twitter, bro. Well, I saw that everyone was kind of pissed off about. Everyone was pissed with the CEO of Guillermo on Twitter because he took a picture with the Israeli prime minister and with everything going on with the war there in Gaza. I guess people were very upset about that. I saw all that, but I thought maybe there was something new that was going on. I mean, every time I've used Next, I've always enjoyed it. The one thing I didn't like about Next was all of the caching issues. Like, they weren't really issues. There was just like, you had to think about like, is this page cached on the client? And sometimes you'd basically have to do a lot of work to avoid that caching. That was the one thing I remember from the last time I built a Next.js project where I was like, I don't want you to be aggressively caching my shit. I just want to opt into caching when it becomes an issue. I don't want it to be out of the box caching everything. Vercel tightening its tentacles around React World. Yeah, like every other big enterprise behind the scenes. It's the directives. Oh, like they use workflow and yeah, I saw they use workflow directive. Yeah, people had big feelings about use workflow on Twitter. Harsh, they fixed that in Next 15. It is opt-in caching now. Nice, that's the right choice. I think that's 100% the right choice. I think caching is an optimization, right? It's not something you want out of the box. You want to be able to pick and choose where you aggressively cache data. I heard Nest is what if enterprise Java devs designed a JavaScript framework. The directive is a Vercel thing. Next has React directives plus use cache, and then Vercel added use workflow. I mean, I think it's all. I mean, I think Vercel has. They're trying to solve problems for the customers they know, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of people who welcome things like use workflow, use cache, you know? I still think it goes back to one of those things. It's like if you don't like something, just don't use it, right? Now it's a whole different story if like they're forcing you into it, right? If they're forcing you to opt into stuff, well then, that's a whole different thing. We still use good old React plus Netcore at work and Next.js for SEO heavy stuff. Nice. Yeah, I personally prefer client-side rendering. I think the whole stuff, all the benefits of Next kind of, when I did the last Next project, we had server rendered components, and the takeaway I had was I did not care for having to think about which piece of my JavaScript is being rendered on the server versus which piece of my JavaScript is being rendered on the client. I found that overhead was just not as was unnecessary, and so I've just gone back to just having clear lines between front and back. I mean, I know server-side rendering is nice, right? But I don't know. I think it's a lot less overhead just to think like, okay, JavaScript, test rendering on the client. It's going to fetch some data from the backend and paint it on the screen. But I'm a simple man, I live in Kansas. I stream from my basement at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think anyone is migrating off Next.js. That's dumb. Or at least none of those are good reasons to leave Next.js. Nathan says, nah, I'm leaving for Laravel. Well, Laravel looks cool. I've never written any Laravel, but all the demos I've seen look cool. I like that there's so much just out of the box functionality. I will say whenever they show you like a bootstrapped Laravel app, it's a little overwhelming. It seems like there's a lot of files, like orienting yourself to what the hell you're looking at. But I'm sure that goes away over time, you know? So if you do leave and you do go over to Laravel, Nathan, please tell us how your experience is, because I would like to know. SSR, so PHP with extra steps. Well, for a whole class of people, they had never done any server-side rendering, right? There's a whole group of developers who never ever built a server-side rendered app before, right? So that was a pretty big deal for them. My dog going crazy right now. Sometimes dogs get the zoomies, man. They gotta run around. I get their energy out. SSR is so much more complex than what we did back then with PHP. I've never done anything with PHP. The PHP heydays predate my involvement in anything development related. Oh, I don't have a tags field. Is this a slice of string? What the heck am I doing wrong here? This is what happens when you deviate from the tutorial code. Copying pasting doesn't work as well. Scanner. There we go. There we go. Don't ever want to work on another Blazor app? What? What's wrong with Blazor? I like Blazor. I don't want to do anything on the client with Blazor, but Blazor server, count me in. Yeah, I'd like to know what I mean the Blazor WebAssembly I'm not a big fan of, but Blazor server sounds good. It was pure client Blazor with the separate. Yeah, now that does sound like hell. I agree with you. Yeah, don't want to do that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either. The main thing I don't like about Blazor Wasm, I think, is I don't care for the I don't care for the loading. You know how like whenever you open a Blazor app and you gotta bring down the whole WASM, right? And all the code and DLLs and everything. And so there's a real long load time. A lot of people put like a loading icon or like 100, progress bar. I really hate that experience. Yeah, and the hot reload is not great at all. Which supposedly they improved that though. According to .NET Conf, Harsh, they showed a video. They took the hot reload down from 40 seconds. Like, holy shit, how did they ever let that be a thing? They took it down from 40 seconds to 3 seconds. But that's not releasing, I think, until next month. I think next month is when you actually get that in Visual Studio 2026. But I mean, that's a huge, I mean, if they really did improve it that much. The other issue I always have with Blazor is, I always have issues with the Razor LSP. Oh, that's news to you. Yeah, you should be on the lookout for it. It's gonna be in. They changed the way they do the hot reloading. They're calling it co-hosting. Something about co-hosting. I don't know, some technical jargon. But yeah, I always have issues with the Razor LSP too. Like in Visual Studio over the last year or so with my blog, like because my blog is in Blazor. Every time I try to work with it in Visual Studio Code, I always feel like I run into some LSP related issue. Where my IntelliSense doesn't work quite right, or something doesn't get highlighted the way it should. I've never played Geodash Artwork Studios. My main game right now is RedSec. That's my main game. And then tomorrow the new Call of Duty comes out, which I'm excited about. Alright, so we've read the first 3 lines already. We then need to read one more line, discard it, and then the remainder of the file contains the post body. Write the test first. Change the test data to have the separator and a body with a few new lines to check we grab all the content. Okay? I'm not a big fan of how we're defining the test data here. But what are you going to do? Add to our assertions like the others. Great, we can do that. Now, this is going to be new posts, and then this is going to be posts. There's no body, so we need to add a body. Body is also going to be a string. I'll pass on the country. Too much racism. What? Onichan D's. What's up? Good to see you. That was a very excited Steve. Oh no, is this a spam? Is this a troll? Did a troll get past our subscriber only chat block? I feel like there's something about that username. There's something with that username. Is that username trying to get you to say something? Whenever I see D's, I'm always thinking someone's trying to get me to say D's nuts. What is that profile picture, man? Dude, the internet is such a strange place. Go to channel. Man, that profile picture is something else. I love the mustache. It's South Asia. Profile picture is from Shi-Chan anime. Oh, that's a great profile picture. Great character. I've never seen that anime. I haven't seen very much anime. A lot of Dragon Ball Z, but other than that, a lot of Gundam Wing. Watched a lot of Gundam Wing growing up. Basically anything that was on Toonami here in the United States. Which I don't know if people would consider real anime, but thanks, G. Yes, DBZ. Yeah, can't go wrong with DBZ. Gundam was great, and I don't hear people talk about Dragon Ball Z all the time, but I very rarely hear people talk about Gundam Wing. Like me and my brother loved Gundam Wing. We had all the action figures. Like that was the shit. I mean, that still would be the coolest thing to have mech suits like that. That'd be so awesome. Gundam now has 2,000 different versions. Oh, really? The universe is like severely split or something? Nearly 30% of Steven's gang are Indians, some of the OGs. Yeah, let's see actually. We looked the other day at the demographics of my viewers. There was I think 10% of my viewership actually comes from India, which is pretty awesome. I never would have thought anybody outside of the United States would watch a single thing I ever put on YouTube. I just, I don't know. I just never thought people in other countries would be interested in what I was doing or what I had going on. Let's see. I'm looking at the demo. I guess right now it's only at 7%. India's at 7% of my viewership. The United States is only 25% of my viewership. Huh. That's so low compared to what I thought it would be. I just figured, considering I speak English, that my viewership would mostly be concentrated in English speaking countries, but kind of crazy. They got mega-sized Gundam figures in Japan. It was so cool. Ah, man, I wish I'd get to go there someday. There's even gunplay animes. Wow. See, Steven, I had one question. I'm a full stack dev with 2 years of experience, front end, back end, GCP deployment, but I feel I've hit a wall. Man, you sound like you don't sound like you hit a wall. You sound like you're crushing it. Pablo, Argentina present. Yes, and we are proud to have you as our Argentinian chat member. I've hit a limit in the depth, I feel. Should I start to focus on back end moving forward? So, like, are you saying basically you mean in your job you feel like you've kind of maxed out? Is that what you're saying? Like where you work, you don't feel like there's new challenges or new things to learn, that sort of situation? UK, gang, gang. Everyone's representing their nationality. I like it. We have a multinational chat. It's pretty cool. Oh, they took the giant Gundam out of Japan, so if I ever go, I'm not even going to get to see it. That sucks. Mike.1 English here. Oh, nice. Good to see you, Mike. Thanks for dropping a message in the chat, man. We got some Cornish people. Cornish, that's in the UK, right? Cornish. Yeah, Cornwall. So that's UK, right? Yeah, UK. Nice. Too late for us, Steven. That sucks. That really does suck. Because I would have liked to see a giant Gundam in person. That'd been awesome. Hold on. Who? I asked a question to someone. Do they? Mike.1 American. Yeah, American here. Yep. Okay, Steven, the lessons aren't going to finish themselves, chop chop. Yeah, I know, I'm making excuses not to keep working on them. Let's see. No, I mean, I'm unable to get deeper into one thing out of the three, like specialization. I'm stuck in a junior to mid-level skill in both front end and back end. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think you got to pick then. You know, I mean, that goes back to that whole T-shaped thing, right? Like you got to kind of pick like it sounds like you kind of have some good breadth, right? And so now it's kind of about picking which one you want to go deep on, right? And so that's that whole like T-shaped person or T-shaped dev or however you want to put it, but I think that's just up to you, right? Which one's most interesting, and it doesn't have to be a forever thing, right? It could just be a temporary thing. Like you decide for the next 5 years you're going to go hard at front end, and then the next 5 years in your career you're going to go hard at back. You know what I mean? Like you can always change your mind, but I think yeah, you just got to pick. But it sounds like you're on a great path. I mean, I think you're where a lot of other people that I've seen in my chat wish they were. You know, I think a lot of there's people in my that I've had come to my chat who have asked questions about jobs and stuff that I think wish they were in your situation. So I think it's good to be you, is what I think. Man, senior level programmer for $500. Is that $500 a month or what is that, Arvin? What's the rate? Yeah, that would be difficult to live on here in the States for sure. You wouldn't be able to live on that here in the States. Harsh, you earn first world and live third world. That's the secret. Yeah, that is the secret. The secret is making more than you spend and investing the difference. Thanks, man. Of course, yeah, of course. I'm always happy to share my input. I mean, I'm not sure my input's always the greatest or the most helpful, but if I'm always happy to participate in the conversation, you know. All right, back to the lessons because Harsh reminded me they're not just gonna magically finish. Okay, scan the next line to ignore the dash 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 separate. So okay, well, we should run our test to make sure it fails. Which it's gonna fail. Oh, hey, what's up, Sogo? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being a member. 20 likes and Steve. I won't. Well, I don't know. I might not do 10 handstand push-ups, but I would attempt one. We need an emoji for Chop Chop. We do need an emoji for Chop Chop. If somebody would be willing to submit an emoji for Chop Chop, I will definitely replace. I can have 4, I think, at the moment, based on how many members I have. I think I can have 4 emojis. So I would definitely probably replace the fire emoji with Chop Chop. I'm probably never gonna get rid of this emoji though, to be honest. I'm ne I'm never gonna get rid of emotional Jared. Sometimes I watch clips of Jared from Silicon Valley just when I need to, laugh, when I need to just need like a change in brain chemistry. That character is so fucking funny. Okay, so we have read meta line. Okay. We have title, description, tags. Okay, we're going to ignore the 4th line, is what we're doing here. And then this is what Mason was talking about earlier. So this is where we can just loop over all the lines. So we'll just say for scanner.scan. And then we're taking the text from the scanner and putting it into this buffer of bytes. And then we're taking the new line off the end of it. Why are we putting it into a buffer though? Why not just read all the, why not just concatenate it into a big string? Did he actually, let's see, returns a bool which indicates whether there's more data to scan. So we can use that for a for loop. After every scan, we write the data into the buffer using format.fprintln. We use the version that adds a new line because the scanner removes the new lines from each file, but we need to maintain them. Oh, that's interesting. That's a very subtle thing that I wouldn't have known about. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think I can do this. So we are going to do okay. It passes. Encapsulating the idea, getting the rest of the data into a function will help future. Yeah, we already did that. We made our steel thread a functionality. Our steel thread. I've never heard that term before. Our steel thread, taking the shortest route to get our happy path, but clearly there's some distance to go before it's production ready. We have it handled when the file's format is not correct. The file is not a markdown file. What if the order of the metadata fields is different? Should that be allowed? Should we be able to handle it? Crucially, though, we have working software and we have defined our interface. The above are just further iterations, more tests to write, and drive our behavior. To support any of the above, we shouldn't have to change our design, just implementation details. Keeping focused on the goals means we made the important decisions and validated them against the desired behavior, rather than getting bogged down on matters that won't affect the overall design. We say fs.fs, some elegant ways of reading data from file systems and testing. If you wish to try out the code for real, create a CMD folder within the project, add a main.go file, add the following code. Yep. Notice the symmetry between the production code and the tests. This is when consumer-driven top-down TDD feels correct. A user of our package can look at our tests and quickly get up to speed with what it's supposed to do and how to use it. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about looking at open source projects is the ability, if they have tests, is to go look at the test. That's often a better place to start figuring out the API of something. As maintainers, we can be confident our tests are useful because they're from a consumer's point of view. Yeah, this is like have you guys ever heard of the React testing library? That reminds me of the quote that's on this. Where is it? It's somewhere. I don't know. It's a quote from Kent C. Dodds though. Kent C. Dodds testing quote. It's something. The quote is something like, "The more our tests resemble the way our users, the more your tests resemble the way your software is used, the more confidence they can give you." That's basically the same sentiment he's expressing here. Confident our tests are useful because they're from a consumer's point of view. But relying on good software engineering practices like dependency injection, our code is simple to test and reuse. When you're creating packages, even if they're only internal to your project, prefer a top-down consumer-driven approach. This will stop you from over-imagining designs, making abstractions you may not even need, and will help ensure the tests you write are useful. The iterative approach kept every step small, and the continuous feedback helped us uncover unclear requirements possibly sooner than with other more ad hoc approaches. If your work needs to do writing, you'll need to look elsewhere. Remember to keep thinking about what the standard library offers currently. If you're writing data, you should probably look into leveraging existing interfaces such as io.writer to keep your code loosely coupled and reusable. I don't know if I'll have to do much writing to a file in... I mean, I might need to write to a file for like debugging purposes. Templating, yay, we're finally here. We're like, this is like the second to last lesson, I think. No, third to last. Second. Third to last. Did someone just, was that Pablo said bug-driven development? Hey, what's up, Stefan? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. It's been a minute. Affiliates, hello. Hello from Belgium. Great to have you. We love our Belgian folks. Wow, $400 per month for a senior level dev. That's crazy. But I guess the cost of living between here and where you are must be different, because that would be impossible to live on here in the States, Arvin. Pablo, strings allocate just the amount of memory they need. Buffer. Oh, yep, you're probably right. Yep, they probably did a buffer for the string allocation. But there is string.builder, yeah, so we probably could use a string.builder. I don't know, I just never work with bytes very often, like, in C#, I don't very often find myself using an array of bytes myself. Maybe it's just the type of programming I do. We test the bare minimum and then what we need to fix the bugs. We've invented a new type of driven development, bug-driven development. I like it. All right, we live in a world where everyone wants to build web applications with the latest flavor of the month front-end framework built upon gigabytes of transpiled JavaScript working with a Byzantine build system. Well, tell us how you really feel. This guy obviously hates modern web development. Or at the very least has a very strong opinion about it. I'd say most Go developers value a simple, stable, and fast toolchain, but the front-end world frequently fails to deliver on this front. Many websites do not need to be a spa. HTML and CSS are fantastic ways of delivering content, and you can use Go to make a website to deliver HTML. If you wish to still have some dynamic elements, you can sprinkle in some client-side JavaScript, or you may even want to try experimenting with Hotwire. This is from the Ruby community, isn't it? Hotwire? Yeah. It's brought by the people who make Base, Camp, and Hey. This is basically 37 Signals, but one of the founders of 37 Signals is also Ruby on Rails creator. Huh, I did not know the Go community used Hotwire, which allows you to deliver a dynamic experience with a server-side approach. So is it Hotwire is an alternative approach to building modern web applications without using much JavaScript by sending HTML instead of JSON over the wire. Okay. So how does it make it interactive? Oh, they use WebSocket? Interesting. It almost sounds a little bit like Blazor Server. You know, streaming. Well, Blazor Server does different things, but this idea of using a WebSocket, right, to support client interactivity. So we stream partial page updates. Huh.
Regardless of whether the response is up.
There's DHH. Huh. Might have to check that out at some point. I'd also like to check out HTMX. I've never used that before, but that might go well with this kind of approach, the server-side approach that Go developers seem to like. Arvin based article, to be honest. With old web 2.0. Pablo after AOC. Yeah, maybe, or maybe just on the side, you know. I'm interested to see how AOC is gonna go with streaming because I only really get like 2.5 hours to stream, so I'm not sure if I'll always be able to finish that day's advent of code on stream. Because like last year, some of the problems took me like 5 or 6 hours. Excuse me. So I don't know. Maybe I need to consider moving the stream time around. I'm definitely not going to wake up earlier. So I don't know. Last year, what I did was I would put my kids to bed and I would just start working on it at like 8 o'clock, and I would just stay up as late as I had to get it done. You can generate your HTML in Go with elaborate usage of format.fprintf, but in this chapter, you'll learn that Go standard library has some tools to generate HTML in a simpler and more maintainable way. You'll also learn more effective ways of testing this kind of code that you may not have run into before. Wonderful. We will stay here for that or more. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure what the best approach is. Or maybe I don't know. I could talk to my wife maybe and maybe my boss and just see if I could start work a little later in the month of December. Because well, let's say like I start at 4 o'clock, and let's say the longest advent of code problem takes us till 10 a.m. You know, I just start work a little later and work a little longer each day. Okay, in reading files chapter, we wrote some code that would take an fs.fs file system and return a slice of post for each markdown file it encountered. Here's how we defined it. Yep, I remember all this. I was just there. I was literally just on that. For our blog, we want to generate two kinds of pages. A view post renders a specific post, the body field in post is a string containing markdown, so that should be converted to HTML. Index lists all the posts with hyperlinks to view the specific post. We're building a blog site. What we're doing now. When you're building blog software, you have a few options in terms of approaches of how you build and send HTML to the user's browser. We will design our code so it accepts an io.writer. This means the caller of our code has the flexibility to write them to an os.file so they can be statically served, write out the HTML directly to a response writer, or just write them to anything really. So long as it implements io.writer, the user can generate some HTML from a post. So let's write the test first. I guess I can... How should I organize this? Just put it in a new... I don't know. Should I put it in the same folder that I was already working in? No, we'll put it in a separate one. That's fine. Make dir blog renderer. Is that a word? Renderer. Then we'll do new item blog render.go. New item blog renderer dot for test.go. Then we'll do go mod init blog render. Pablo, does everybody who write Go do they? I don't know if Pablo's still here, but Pablo, if you're still here, the people who write Go, do they all pretty much host their code on GitHub? Or is there another place that people do it? Okay, we're gonna write our first test. Copy. Any get. Oh, okay, any get. I don't know how it works, but there's a section of the Go documentation covering distributing packages. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to go over that. I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I'll actually be distributing Go stuff, but I'm just kind of curious about the ecosystem at large. Package, blog render. Thank you, Copilot. That's the kind of stuff Copilot is just so OP for. Any kind of documentation, anything you don't want to have to think about writing. Copilot is good for. Which I don't necessarily know if code falls into that category. Sometimes probably, but probably shouldn't more often than not. The test should complain that an empty string doesn't equal what we want. Go test. Yep, it fails. Of course, he's going to have us do the simplest thing to get it working, which is going to involve just literally returning the correct string. Remember, software development is primarily a learning activity. In order to discover and learn as we work, we need to work in a way that gives us frequent, high-quality feedback loops. That's an interesting way to frame software development. Software development is primarily a learning activity. I don't think I've ever heard anyone describe it that way. I'm guessing our bosses probably wouldn't want us to describe. Well, maybe not our bosses, but like the owners of our companies probably wouldn't want us to describe it that way. In order to discover and learn, okay. The easiest way to do that is work in small steps. So we're not worrying about using any templating libraries right now. You can make HTML just with normal string templating just fine. And by skipping the template part, we can validate a small bit of useful behavior, and we've done a small bit of design work for our packages API. Oops. The idea of software development being a learning and problem-solving activity being lost is a big issue with a lot of people. Well, I agree. I kind of agree with that sentiment, but the thing is, like even the whole popularity of vibe coding and the appetite that business people have to shove AI tools on developers just tells you that while the people doing the work look at it as a learning activity and look at it as a creative process, the people who are employing developers and employing the builders just look at it as value creation, which means they want to drive the cost to zero, right? The cost of producing software, they want to drive that cost to zero, which is no different than any other industry, right? In every other industry, you're always trying to minimize the cost of production so you can maximize the delta between what you sell something for and what you make it for. Which, as if you're in the development field, kind of makes you pause and think about where you sit in the supply chain, you know? Yeah, I agree. I think software is it's a creative endeavor, and not the people who do it know that. People who don't, people who just look at it as a way to, you know, a means to an end, right? And unfortunately, in the business world, that's kind of what it is. Now we have a very basic version working. We can iterate on the tests to expand on the functionality. In this case, rendering more information about the post. Okay. That's obviously going to fail, though. Wait, it passed. What? Why did it pass? Did I not write it out? Yeah, I didn't write it out. That's my fault. So what do we need to do to get this to work? Notice that writing this test feels awkward. Seeing all that markup in the test feels bad, and we haven't even put the body in or the actual HTML we want with all of the head content, whatever page furniture we need. Page furniture? This guy uses some of the funniest language to describe certain things. Steel thread, page furniture. I like that. Nonetheless, let's put up with the pain for now. Try to run the test. Yep, it fails. We did. Try to do this yourself rather than copying the code. What you should find is that making this test pass is a bit annoying. When I tried my first attempt, I got this error. Oh yeah, that's super ugly. Super, super ugly. New lines, who cares? Well, our test does because it's matching on an exact string value. Should it? I removed the new lines for now just to get the test passing. So he is printing the tags. No, he's writing this into the writer. So he's basically just building up a string. So he's got the head, the paragraph. Now he's got tags, which is an unordered list, and then for each tag, he's appending a list item, and then adding the closing, and then returning it. Yikes! Not the nicest code I've written, and we're still only at a very early implementation of our markup. We'll need so much more content and things on our page. We're quickly seeing that this approach is not appropriate. Yes, it doesn't feel appropriate. With the safety net of passing tests for working code, we can now think about changing our implementation approach at the refactoring stage. Go has two templating packages, text template and HTML template, and they share the same interface. What they both do is allow you to combine a template and some data to produce a string. Nice. Hey, Inspire. Good morning. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing well. See you, Arvin. Have a good day, man. See you, Arbor Studios. Hope you guys have a good day. Or a good rest of your day, if you're already through the majority of it. Let's see. Package templates implements data-driven templates for generating HTML and outputs safe against code injection. It provides the same interface as package text template and should be used instead of text template whenever the output is HTML. The templating language is very similar to Mustache. I've used Mustache before. It's been a minute since I've used it, but I have used it. I used it for, I think, a note for an Express API at some point. Compared to other templating language you may have used, it is very constrained or logicless, as Mustache likes to say. This is an important and deliberate design decision. While we're focusing on generating HTML here, if your project is doing complex string concatenations and incantations, you might want to reach for a text template to clean up your code. So here's the template for our blog, and I think the name mustache, right, comes from the curly brackets right there. So anything inside these curlies is actually, in this case, Go, right? So then we can range over the dot tags. Where do we define this string? Well, we have a few options, but to keep the steps small, let's just start with a plain old string. I like it. Keep it simple. How's the Go learning going, chat? I think it's going pretty good. But I guess chat might have different feelings. Oh, you have a cold? That sucks, dude. My family's in kind of that situation. We got a flu that's going around. You woke up early and locked in for 4 hours? Let's go. Killing it, dude. Yes, I feel safe with the brackets, Pablo. I feel at home. I mean, Go has brackets too, just not as many, right? I mean, it's less cozy than C#. We create a new template with a name, then parse our template string. We can then use the execute method on it, passing in our data, in this case the post. The template will substitute things like .description with the content of p.description. Templates also give you some programming primitives like range to loop over values and if. You can find more details in the text template documentation. This should be a pure refactor. We shouldn't need to change our tests, and they should continue to pass. So let's try to run our tests. Sorry, my wife sent me a text. Is it time for me to learn C#? Dude, I would love for you to learn C#. I'm trying to get as many people in the world as I can to learn C#. In AOC with it this year. Yeah, do it, man. Do it. Learn C# and do AOC. You can do it. I can't think of what to learn, to be honest. Yeah, do C#. Or, I mean, do what you're interested in, but if you're interested in C#, give it a go. Alright, why did this fail? Is it because of the new lines? No, it still failed. Oh, well, that's because our want appears wrong. That's why. There we go. Mason, did someone say C#? Oh, C#. Pablo, I'm learning Go by watching Steven struggle. I'm glad I could be of service. Frequently, people complain about the verbosity of error handling in Go, but you might find you can find better ways to write your code so it's less error prone in the first place, like here. Let's see, using the HTML template has definitely been an improvement, but having it as a string constant in our code isn't great. It's still quite difficult to read. It's not IDE or editor friendly, no syntax highlighting, no reformatting, refactoring. It looks like HTML, but you can't really work with it like you could a normal HTML file. What we'd like to do is have our templates live in separate files so we can better organize them and work with them as if they're HTML files. Create a folder called templates, and inside it make a file called blog.go.html and paste our templates into the file. Now change our code to embed the file systems using the embedding functionality included in Go.116. By embedding a file system into our code, we can load multiple templates and combine them freely. This will become useful when we want to share rendering logic across templates, such as a header for the top of the HTML page and a footer. Yeah, we're kind of entering like ASP.NET land with Razor views. The documentation from the standard library explains package embed. I don't know why I keep wanting to say this word wrong. Package embed provides access to files embedded in the running Go program. Go source files that import embedded can use the Go embedded directive to initialize a variable of type string, byte, or fs with the contents of files read from the package directory or subdirectories at compile time. That's pretty cool. Why would we want to use this? Well, the alternative is that we can load our templates from a normal file system. However, this means we'd have to make sure that the templates are in the correct file path whenever we want to use this software. In your job, you may have various environments like development, staging, and live. For this to work, you need to make sure your templates are copied to the correct place. With embed, the files are included in your Go program when you build it. This means once you've built your program, which you should only do once, the files are always available to you. That's pretty cool. What's handy is you can not only embed individual files, but also file systems. And that file system implements IOFS, which means your code doesn't need to care what kind of file system it is working with. If you wish to use different templates depending on configuration, though, you may wish to stick to loading templates from disk in the more conventional way. Honey, you're such a troll, but a cute one. I would skip this for AOC. Yeah, it's like we're kind of entering web dev land, aren't we? Yeah, the template. I mean, I do want to learn about it, but it's probably more applicable if we're going to come back and build like actual, if we're going to build an actual web app, right? I mean, basically, we're talking about how do we use templates in our code to render markup from a server at the end of the day. I think right now he's just doing it from a test perspective, but you'd actually probably use this if you're actually going to serve the HTML, which doesn't seem super relevant to what we want to do. Okay, let's put a fork in this one. Yeah. I think we'll I think Pablo's suggestion is a worthy one and a valid one. So what's the other language? Generics, right? Generics. This chapter will give you an introduction to generics you may have about them and give you an idea how to simplify some of your code in the future. After reading this, you'll know how to write a function that takes generic arguments and a generic data structure. Yeah. We learned about this a little bit. The any, this is basically the any keyword from JavaScript. The test should now compile and pass. The problem with interface, so what's in this case we get away with it. The test compiles. Yep. This means the compiler can't help us. So generics offer us a way to make abstractions by letting us describe our constraints. They allow us to write functions that have similar level of flexibility that the any word offers, but retain type safety and provide a better developer experience for callers. Yeah, we've seen this before. This T comparable, this bracket syntax for the generics. Yes, indeed we have. So you need to provide type parameters, which is just a fancy way of saying describe your generic type and give it a label. Hey, what's up, Tao? How are you? Pablo said, that's got to be one of the best statements I've heard about programming. Not many people care about Lua, so I can say I'm not an expert there. Or I can say I'm an expert there, and mostly no one will complain. So if you claim you're an expert at JavaScript, you get a lot of pushback. But if you claim you're an expert in some esoteric language that nobody else uses, no one will challenge you. I like that approach. Hang up your pictures, bro. You have Einstein. I know, I do, honey. I was told yesterday that I need to make my background much more interesting. That people will find my streams and stick around longer if my background is more interesting. I thought my wife was gonna help me hang the pictures. That's what I thought was gonna happen. Yeah. If you guys are curious, this is my wife in the chat. If you're new here, Kelsey's my wife. Chat's got my back, see? Although I don't live with chat, so. How do you deal with dogs begging you for food? Just don't give it to them, man, because they'll just keep doing it. Should we do a hang up picture stream? Yeah, or maybe just set up my background stream. No, I can't. You know, I can't. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to hang up pictures on the wall. You gotta do it for me. Yeah. So according to Boris yesterday, I need to buy some plants. I need to buy an LED light, and I need to buy. He also said I need to buy. What was the name of that clock? He said I needed to buy. I can't remember what it was called. Clock. Bulb clock? I don't know what it is. Oh, Nixie. That's what it was. Nixie. Yeah. So we're supposed to get what? We're supposed to get LEDs, plants, a couple plants, and one of these things. And oh, we need some shelves so we can put the stuff on the shelves. I like the coffee machine idea. Yeah, we need to. We definitely need that for admin of code. We're gonna do some sort of little like brew station right here for admin of code. You are saying a lot of we. Yeah, that's because I have an amazing partner. She's gonna help me do it all. Dang that. Yeah, the Nixie thing is very expensive, but it sure does look cool, don't it? I really like this one. It'd be even cooler if you could like allow chat to control like which bulb is on or off. Like don't even use it for displaying the time. Just like wire it up to some stream elements command. get a basement coffee machine. See, chat, you guys are so helpful. Now I can go upstairs and explain to my wife why I needed to get a second coffee machine. a second espresso machine. uh, that's too good. Yeah, she does not back down. Yeah. Yeah, this is a thing in our house. This is a thing. That would actually be a really funny way to give someone a joke gift, you know? Like, "Oh, you wanted a new coffee grinder." And you hand them a porter and a mestel. Advent calendar for Advent of Code. Yeah, we need that. Different coffee or chocolate or snack each day. Yeah, I bought an Advent calendar. It's a coffee Advent calendar from this company called Onyx Coffee. It's supposed to ship next week, I think. I think it ships on the 17th. But it's basically like yeah, you get a unique coffee every day for all of Advent. So my plan is to make the coffee here and then do the Advent of Code problem. that's that's basically how I'm going to spend my mornings in December. Tell them how many items. I don't have any items for making coffee. There's not enough way there. Like I think I only have like maybe 7 or 8 ways to make coffee. We need more ways to make coffee. I mean, that's not enough, right? Yeah, drink a new coffee. Yes, it's so every day it'll be like a different. I think it's going to be either a different roast or a different origin for the coffee, right? So or a different brand. It's the first time I've ever bought it from them. The last 2 years I've wanted to buy it, but was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And then this year, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Rookie numbers. Yeah, see, it doesn't seem like enough. 10 ways of brewing coffee is not enough ways to brew coffee. There's so many coffee machines in the world, right? I mean, you gotta live. Yeah. Well, my plan is to get like a portable table or something, and then I'll bring like my pour over and my Nespresso for me is yeah. Nespresso is good. Nespresso is good. It's just if you drink a lot, Nespresso gets kind of pricey, Nathan. My brother had an espresso machine, and the pods were kind of expensive. But if you're just like a one coffee a day kind of person, yeah, Nespresso seems like it would be legit. Yes, exactly. See, that's what the true Advent calendar should be. It should be a new way of making coffee every day of Advent. Every day you get a new coffee machine or a new espresso machine. This is the way. Gunn said, "You're still going." Yeah, I know, and I'm not going. I should be going, but I'm not going. I'm trying to. I'm actually thinking I'm gonna skip generics and just this is gonna be my last day here. We're going to create a stack data type. Stack should be fairly straightforward. Yes, this is probably a type that we're going to want to have for admin and code. A stack. So he's basically going to refactor the stack, so instead of it being a stack of strings, it can be generic. we're aliasing our previous implementation of stack of ints and stack of strings to a new unified type stack. We've removed the type safety from the stack by making it so values is a slice of interface. Yeah, but that's not very helpful. So now we can say type stack T of any, but this is still gives us constraints, right? So if we say, so if we do stack of int, it constrains us to only putting int in the stack. I mean, I think this is pretty. Their approach with generics is like very similar to C# or TypeScript. You know, if you're inexperienced with statically typed languages, the point of generics may not be immediately obvious. But I hope the examples in this chapter have illustrated where the Go language isn't as expressive as we'd like. In particular, using the interface makes your code less safe, less expressive, more likely to rely on reflection, which is not great. Using statically typed languages is an act of describing constraints. If you do it well, you create code that's not only safe and simple to use, but also simpler to write. Will generics turn Go into Java? Like, they asked that question like it's a bad thing. What, people don't want to write Go? This combo has gotten out of hand. This is what happens when you come to the party, honey. Steven's sleeping on a different couch for each day of admin. That's too good. Get a really long pipe and connect it from your coffee machine to the basement. Yeah, that would be that. Actually, I think where my office sits, I think is like right under the kitchen. So I think like right over there in the corner is actually where my espresso machine is. So actually, Artwork Studio, it's not a bad idea. You know, we could just like run a pipe down, just have a shot. You know, like a portafilter that sits right here. Although the pressure might be an issue, we might not get the same shot that we would upstairs. Build a coffee machine by hand for each day of admin of code. Dude. You know, it's kind of funny. For as much as I like solving problems in the digital world, doing stuff like that, like what you described, I kind of find frustrating in the physical world. You know? It's kind of weird. If Steven gets a long pipe and a button, that'll be interesting. It would still be expensive. Yeah, what Pablo said. It would still cost money. So then it's like, well, why don't we just buy the coffee machines? I enjoy tinkering, but too much friction compared to code. Yeah, I think that's what it is for me too. There's the feedback loop is so long. Yeah. And typically if you make a mistake in the real world, it's much more expensive than making a mistake in some text that you put in a file. I've never done any firmware. I've never done anything with any embedded systems. I'd like to, though. I think it'd be fun one day. I think it'd be fun to have some Raspberry Pis to tinker with. Some controllers and stuff. Alright, so we're just basically making a case for generics here, which is wonderful. Okay, so we're trying to talk. So he's trying to talk to us right now about arrays and slices in the context of generics. Do you see a recurring pattern? Create some kind of initial result value, iterate over the collection, setting a new value for the result, return the result. This idea is commonly talked about in functional programming circles, often called reduce or fold. Go has always had higher order functions. As of version 1, .18, it also has generics. So it is now possible. Well, generics are a pretty recent thing because I'm on version 1.25, I think. So it is now possible to find some of these functions discussed in our wider field. Go is supposed to be simple. Do house automation stuff that would solve issues for Kelsey. Yeah. Well, it's funny. My family already struggles with the connected lights that I have around the house because they always want to use the switches, and so then they turn the switch off, and the light isn't connected anymore to Wi-Fi. So I don't know how well home automation would go over here. My first pass of reduce. So reduce takes a collection of a certain type, and then it has a function that works has a function of that type, or I guess two parameters, and then it returns a value of that type, and then it has an initial value. So we give it an initial value, then we go over the collection, and we basically pass in this guy to X, and we pass in the result, and then we reassign it to result, and then finally we return result. So Go doesn't have any of these built in. This is all stuff you have to implement yourself. Suppose we had the list of transactions, and we wanted a function that would take them plus a name to figure out their bank balance. I know I'm kind of scanning through this, but I think this is getting a little too heady. I think I know enough now. I can probably start working on some admin and code problems. Okay. Here we go. So reduce takes A and returns a type of B. So the initial value is a B, and then we take in the collection. We take an item of A, and finally we return a B. So you can specify more than one type in here. So that's good to know. It's kind of annoying you have to implement them all yourself, though. Why don't they? Go doesn't have built-in. I mean, they have generics now. Why don't they have built-in? It seems like something they should add to the standard lib. All right, we're done with it. We're done with learn Go with tests. At least for now. We might come back and read the templating section. They also have whoops, that's not what I want. I want to draw. Boom. We're done. They do have, I will point out, if you're still if you're in a different mode of learning, they do have a bunch of stuff on testing fundamentals, and they also have a bunch of a build and application. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I might go back and do some of this at some point, but for now I'm good. All right, so this is what we're going to do next, is this guy. We are here. We made it. Oh, 7:05 too. That was good timing. This, look up, this are not generics go meme. What? Okay, hold on one sec. This is not, hold on, this are not generics go meme. Go Lang, why you have no generic? So I guess people really wanted generics, huh? I'm guessing this was a hotly, it sounds like this might have been a hotly debated. Now that one's funny. The first Reddit post? Okay, hold on. This one? Okay, this says, can you explain this Go syntax to me? Type immutable tree list, element T, struct. I thought Go doesn't have generics. It doesn't. That's just a template file, which I use search and replace in order to generate the 3 monomorphized Go files. If you look closely, those aren't angle brackets. They're characters from the Canadian. From Go's perspective, that's just one long identifier. Dude, programming is funny. See Artwork Studios. How enjoy your ice cream, man. Had Steven ever had to sleep on the couch before? I'm sure. You know, my wife and I we don't really fight. You know, we don't fight big F fight. We fight little F fight, right? So we might have disagreements or, you know, arguments about certain things, you know, different points of view or perspective, but we don't have like big knockdown, drag out, you know, crazy explosive type of arguments. Which is good. It's good when you find a partner you don't that you aren't volatile with. I don't think that's probably a good way to live your life. ADHDers don't like to drag things out. No, they don't. You know, actually though, the whole ADHD thing has been very good for our family. Like understanding how that type of or having more awareness about how that type of a brain works, and it makes a lot of things that used to think not that they were things that like bothered me. I just used to kind of like it just used to kind of puzzle me. Like, why would you do it that way, or why, you know? And now I completely understand. Do your kids show the signs? They do a little bit. More so in my youngest, but a little bit my oldest too. But yeah, you definitely. It's funny. My wife always said she didn't want to have girls because she didn't want to deal with kids that were exactly like her. But what's funny is like God was like, haha, laughed at her and gave her 2 boys that like are identically her personality. It's just really funny. Yeah, they have the good genes. They do. They have the good genes. Yeah, I'm very happy they got her personality and not my personality. I mean, there are some of my traits in there, but definitely not. Definitely much more her. I think most days. All right, guys. I think that's gonna wrap it up for me. I think tomorrow we'll come back and we'll start fresh. We'll pick out. Maybe we'll just start with last year's first day problem, and just see how it goes. To see how horrible. We'll see how much I've learned. Basically. Um, that'll be the test. But it should be a fun one. All right. Discord. So if you want to hang out with us or chat with us, meaning when I say us, I mean me and chat outside of stream, you can check out our Discord. The Stream Elements has been putting it in the chat, but I put the link in there for you too. If you do want to know when we usually are live, I posted my schedule there in the chat as well. Typically, it's 7:15 or 4:15 in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's Central Standard Time. So if you see us live, obviously stop in, say hi. We are going to be spending the next little half of the month of November doing things with Go. So we're probably going to start with solving some old admin of code problems like Pablo suggested. Then we're going to move on to maybe building a couple small projects. I think it would be fun to build like a social links site would be kind of interesting to do with Go. We could Dockerize it and actually host it on a server. And then December we'll be participating in Advent of Code. So that's what we'll be doing likely on stream. So that's the plan. All right, guys. With that, I hope you guys have a kick-ass Thursday, and if it's already Friday for you, I hope it's even better than that. And if I don't see you tomorrow morning, have a great weekend. And if I do see you in the comments of a shorter video, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. All right, bye, y'all. See you guys. Bye. See you guys.